my channel. My name is Arielle, and I asked you guys on Instagram today what sort of topics you wanted me to cover on YouTube this week and in the next coming weeks. And honestly, there was like quite a lot of random different things. So I have a lot of different ideas for some upcoming videos. The most requested was probably about snowboarding when it comes to gear and slipboarding and things like that. So I will make sure I make a whole video dedicated to that. But today I wanted to keep it a little more simple. There were quite a few of you who asked about my morning routine. And I thought, because I had promised you all last week on Instagram that I would give you my recipe for my simple, I think it's 5-ingredient gluten-free pancakes that are high in protein, that I'd give you the recipe for that today, that it would make sense to link a breakfast recipe with my morning routine. So first and foremost, I wanna show you really quick how to make this super simple, super nutritious, high in protein, gluten-free pancake situation. And then I wanna jump into what my morning routine looks like. So let's make some pancakes.
All right, so these are some of the ingredients I use, but I'll kind of talk you through some alternatives if you have different dietary needs than me. So I start with organic gluten-free oats. It's important to buy gluten-free oats if you do have any allergies, because sometimes they are contaminated, especially if you have celiac or something like that. And then I put it in the blender and I turn it on high until I make a flour. And so basically you're using like an oat flour. I add some baking powder so that the pancakes lift. I'm not good at measuring, but I just add a couple taps in there. And then I really like to add this vanilla protein powder from Juice Plus. I've been using it for 2 years now, and I just like the ingredients and the flavor is really good. So I like to mix up all of those dry ingredients and then add eggs. If you are vegan, you're totally welcome to use like a flax egg alternative. You can just Google how to make a flax egg, and that works totally great, and that would actually make these vegan as well. I add a little bit of water, and then I turn on the stove to a medium height. And then I like to put something on the pan so that it doesn't stick. I like to use ghee personally. Obviously I was running low, but you're welcome to use like coconut oil or whatever you like. It's totally easy to make these vegan as well if that's important to you. And then I just put them on the pan and let them start to cook. When it comes to knowing when to flip them, you want to wait until like the bubbles are popping and not sinking back in. And it like wouldn't be a first round of pancakes without breaking one, right? Like you always break the first one, like that's just how it is. And so once you flip them, you can of course eat the little piece that you broke off. I mean, you wouldn't be making pancakes without eating them while you're cooking them. And then just serve them up. My boyfriend likes to add this grade B organic maple syrup. Honestly, I think they taste so good without it just because of all the ingredients. They're super yummy. They kind of taste like scones, but yeah, so good.
I am super excited to hear if any of you guys go out and make these pancakes. Definitely comment below if you do, what you think, how they turned out, or maybe even tag me on Instagram. I know that quite a few of you made my other recipes in the past, and I loved seeing on Instagram you guys posting stories of them, how they turned out and everything like that. It just makes me so happy to see all of this yummy food kind of spreading out there in the world. So for the rest of this video, I really wanted to tap into morning routine. Breakfast is not the first thing on my morning routine anymore. When I was growing up, I always used to like have to eat first thing in the morning. But I've recently been doing a little bit like dabbling with the intermittent fasting thing, especially because I've heard it really helps with inflammation. And if you don't know, now you do. I had been struggling, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition earlier this year, and I had been struggling with autoimmune related issues for years prior to that, just not knowing what it was. And so I've been really like trying to take the holistic approach over the last year of healing my body with nutrition and with being really mindful of my energy and all that sort of things. So I definitely want to make a video on more of the things I'm doing soon. But to me, it's really important to get my blood work back and really see if I'm making the improvements that it feels like I'm making before I go out there and tell you all the things that I'm doing. So I'll just start by sharing with you a little bit about my morning routine. So like I said, been trying the intermittent fasting thing. And so breakfast is not the first thing on my routine. What I have been doing lately is waking up. I usually wake up between like 5:30 and 6, which I know to a lot of you probably sounds insanely early, but I go to bed really early. I've been trying to be in bed between 9 and 10 every single night. It's winter here, so it gets dark really early, and that's pretty easy to do. And I just feel so much better when I go to bed earlier and wake up earlier. So whatever, I'm rocking the grandma life, and that's totally fine with me. So I wake up early, and I used to put a lot of pressure on myself to do all the morning things. You know, there's so many people out there telling you like, you have to meditate, you have to do this, you got to do that, especially in a lot of like the kind of yoga and wellness modalities. There's like all these things you're supposed to do first thing in the morning. And I was feeling kind of overwhelmed by it. All last winter, I had like a 2-hour routine that I would do that included like yoga and meditation and going to the gym and like all sorts of different things. Abhyanga, which is like, Abhyanga is like this oil massage thing, and dry brushing, and like literally it felt like just the whole morning. And what I realized recently is my most productive work hours are early in the morning. I'm one of those people, I know like some people are really productive or feel creative in the evening. Basically at 6 p.m. or maybe even 5 p.m. I just feel useless. I feel like I can't get anything done. I feel like tasks take me way longer than they should. And so by taking all of my morning hours to do all this morning routine stuff to set me up for my day, I was honestly, by the time I got to like get to my work, I didn't have motivation anymore. I was like so burnt out. And so I just felt like I wasn't as effective. So I've really changed things up recently to make it fit me better. And it's been helping me feel and be so much more productive. And so now when I wake up, the first thing I do is I make a hot lemon water. And it's important that it's not like totally boiling. Supposedly that kills like some of the good stuff in the lemons. Obviously, I don't know all the details that much, but so what I do is I boil water and then I mix it with room temperature water until it's just kind of like a nice hot but not boiling temperature, and then squeeze in my lemon. And then I do something called my morning pages. So a while ago, I read this book called The Artist's Way, and it's all about helping you tap back into your sense of creativity. And this year I've been really struggling a bit with like losing that sense of creativity and not feeling as excited and inspired as I was. And so I've really, really been trying to get back to that. And so what the book recommends is writing 3 full pages every single morning. And it's kind of like journaling, but you don't necessarily have to write about your day or write about anything in specific. And so the idea is that as you pour all of this stuff out of your head, as you like get it out of your head and onto paper, you start to free up energy and space for creative ideas to come in. And I have been doing my morning pages, 3 full pages every single morning consistently for about 4 months now. And it is crazy how much less stressed and anxious I feel. I feel like if I have those feelings of stress and anxiety, I can write through them on the pages and kind of get myself back into energetic alignment. And so this is all the self-care that I do in the morning. It usually takes me about 30 minutes to write the pages and to drink my lemon water. And I just do it, take my time and let it feel leisurely. And then I jump into my day. So for me, the next thing is to get to work on things that are task related things. So maybe it's writing certain captions or comments, maybe it's responding to emails, maybe it's reaching out to certain brands or companies, or anything that is something that I can do on my own to cross off my to-do list. I take the next maybe hour to 2 hours, depending on what my activity of the day is, to work through my list. And it is crazy how productive I am from like 7 to 8 in the morning. I just power it out and I get stuff done. And then I let myself have a mental break. And I go do yoga, or I go to a spin class like I did today, or I go skinning. I get out of my head and just into my body. And it is such a nice way to reset. A lot of times I will come back from whatever that activity is and do a little bit more work, maybe respond to some emails that came back in, finish a couple of things on my to-do list, and then usually go get out of my head and try to do something else. I used to really I would just make myself sit for hours and hours and hours and try to be productive. And what I've learned is that I become increasingly less productive as time goes on. So if I can just instead work in these little bursts, then I get so much more done. Now, the main piece that I think a lot of you in the kind of maybe more spiritual or personal development realm might have noticed is missing from my morning routine is meditation. And I definitely want to take a moment here to talk about the importance of meditation and how I've woven that in a new way for me. So I was finding that, you know, I just kept hearing over and over, you got to meditate first thing, you got to meditate first thing. And I was listening to my teachers and I was trying to be a good student. And the thing that I would find is like, I would meditate, and then as soon as I would get into work, it was like all those good feelings were just gone. It was like negated. And it just kind of felt like all the work I did sitting was undone. And so lately I've actually been shifting my meditation practice to later in the day, which does take more willpower. I feel like you kind of lose willpower throughout the day. So that's why a lot of people like to do all of their stuff first thing in the morning. But I found for me, it just really helps me clear, like say maybe I got an email that was annoying or like whatever it might be, and I get kind of flustered or anxious just through doing work throughout the day, that by meditating later in the day, it's my way of clearing the slate. And then I can go into my evening hours and like my family time without carrying the rest of my day with me. And that's been really, really effective for me. So I think that the main thing that I want to end this video by saying is there's a lot of people out there saying that you need to have specific things in your morning routine or that your morning should look a certain way. And the biggest thing I've learned over the last year is that it's gonna look different for each and every one of us. Some people are more effective in the evening hours, and it's gonna be like my boyfriend, all those hours where I'm doing productive things, he's sleeping, and that works best for him. And so I think what I just wanna say is really think about when you feel the most productive or what makes you feel your best. And as you start to build your morning routine, it's just not important really what anyone else is doing. You can definitely like listen to other people's morning routines for inspiration in ways that you could build a routine that really serves you, but don't feel like there's any shoulds. Don't feel like there's anything that you have to do. I feel like we all have so much pressure and things on our plate already, and by lumping on all these morning things that they have to do, it's just making people feel more and more stressed. So take the things that really serve you and link them together and put them together to find a system that really works for you and your life, that works around your job, whatever you need to do for work, and just take care of yourself. Whatever you do, make sure it's coming from a space of love, and don't feel like you have to do things. See if you can create a morning routine of things that you want to do, that make you feel really good and that make you jump into your day feeling inspired. So that's all I have for you today. Just know that I have answers to a lot of the other topic ideas coming for you in future videos. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Please like this video if you enjoyed this content. And as always, anything you write down in the comments below helps me to get ideas for what sort of content you want to see going forward. Have an awesome day. I'll see you guys next week.